If you want to know how much it costs currently when it comes to living in Nigeria, then you need to watch this video to the end, because in this video I'm going to be giving you a detailed cost of living in Nigeria as at the moment. Now, you would agree with me that the cost of living in Nigeria is so much fluctuating at the moment. It's getting high by the day. Prices that you know today are not the price that is going to be tomorrow. And in this video I'm just going to outline the present cost of living as it comes to, housing, feeding, and every other thing that you would think of when it comes to living comfortably in Nigeria. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to start with housing, because that is like the most or like the first thing that people would want to know when it comes to cost of living here in Nigeria. And for the housing, it's going to vary depending on what you like as an individual. It's going to vary for your taste, it's going to vary in the location, it's going to vary in the state. Okay, you guys, so presently, generally, for the cost of a one-bedroom apartment is consists of a one living room, in one bedroom, your kitchen, and then your toilet. So for that kind of apartment, generally in Nigeria here, you are to budget an amount ranging from $200 if you convert it to naira, $200 to about $400, depending, like I said, on the location and on the state that you are planning to actually live in. Okay, now it varies. The price is also going to vary if you are living in state like Port Harcourt. It's going to vary if you are living in state like Lagos. It's going to vary if you are living in states like Abuja or Uyo or stuff like that. Now, even in these states, let's take for example, you are living in Uyo or you are looking to live in Uyo, the price is going to vary depending on the cities in Uyo that you want to live. Or even if you want to live in Lagos, the price is going to also vary depending on the cities that you want to live in Lagos. Now, for example, if you are living in the Lagos Island, is going to also vary. The price is going to be different from if you are living in the Lagos mainland. So the cities also vary. The price is also going to vary depending on the city. So, but generally, with a $200 to $400, you're going to get a one-bedroom apartment in a good location in Nigeria, depending on the state that you are. Okay, so for a two-bedroom apartment, you are going to be looking at about $500 to about $800, depending on the state, like I said, that you want to live and the kind of amenities that you want to be in the apartment. There are some apartments that are fully furnished, there are some that are not furnished, that you have to buy your you have to be the one to furnish it. Okay, while there are some that are fully furnished, everything is inside and you just come in with your clothes. Okay, so depending on the amenities that you also want to be in the apartment, is going to vary for your amount, and also the city and also the state that you are looking to live in Nigeria. Now, don't forget that these prices are not stable. It can be like this today and tomorrow it is changed. Now it's going to change, not reduced, but it's going to go higher because the price of naira right now is not stable compared to dollar, so it is very, very unpredictable. So that's for cost of housing. Now, when it comes to food, which is going to be the next one, the cost of food is going to vary depending on what an individual likes and the kind of diet an individual is on. But generally, depending on the diet or what an individual likes, an individual, like one person, will not be able to spend, or will spend generally around $200 per month, depending on what you are buying, the kind of diet that you are eating, the size of your family, okay, and how healthy you want to live, and the location that you are living. Because if you are living in some locations in Nigeria, things are quite expensive there compared to other locations in Nigeria, and that is what it is in every other country. There are some places or some cities that are quite expensive. You buy something $10 in one city and you buy that same thing, that same quantity in another city for $50 or for $30. So that's how it is. So you'll be looking at spending from $200 and above Okay, now there are some places that you can also of course spend less than this, and also depend on the size of your family and the kind of diet that you eat, like I said. Okay, now that is for food. If you are having like a family more than maybe 2 or more than 3, you want to budget more depending on the kind of diet that you people eat and the kind of city that you live and all of those remaining stuff. Another thing we are going to look at is cost of transportation, depending on the city that you are and the kind of transportation system that is in your city, and how frequent you go out and the distance that you actually cover. There are a lot of things to actually put into consideration when it comes to transportation, but generally you should be looking at spending from $50 to $150, depending on the distance and every other criteria that I mentioned here. As it pertains to transportation, there are some places that would cost you more, there are some places that will not cost you, and if you are using public transportation, it's going to be cheaper compared to when you are using private transportation. Like maybe you are ordering for Uber and you have a private taxi service that is always taking you around, is going to be more expensive. So that is for transportation. And also when it comes to cost of living in Nigeria, the next one we are going to be looking at is the cost of schools. Okay, so if you are looking at putting your kids in school, maybe you want them to school here in Nigeria, or you are planning on relocating back to Nigeria and you're looking at how affordable the schools are here in Nigeria, it's going to also depend on the city. Everything and every price here in Nigeria is going to depend on the city and the state that you are living in. Now you are going to generally look at from $200 to about $500 and above per term, and a term is 3 months, and we have 3 terms in a section, which is about 9 months altogether. So depending on the quality of the school you are looking for, the standard of the school that you are looking for, the city that the school is, the state that the school is, and everything. Especially when it comes to private school, this is for private school, because public schools are not as expensive as this. Some of them are completely free, just that you have to buy your amenities like your books and everything. So it's not that expensive. If you are going to go to the public school route, then you should budget around $50 for everything in the school that you are going to need for your child, depending on the or the grade in studies that your child is, if it's secondary or primary or kindergarten. Okay, so that is for school. Another thing we are going to look at is of healthcare. Now when it comes to healthcare, you can either choose the private sector or the public sector, and most times the public sector is what people prefer because of the type of emergency or because of the type of privileges that you get. It's easy for you to go there without any prior notice and get your things done, get to see a doctor and everything in a private hospital. But in a public hospital, it takes process. When you go there, you have to wait, you have to follow due process and everything to get to see a doctor. Okay, and for the public, it is quite cheaper compared to the private, but they are going to take a whole bunch of your time, and it's going to be really stressful when you are going through the public route. I feel like it's always like this generally when it comes to things that are free, or when it comes to things that are for the public, or anything public sector is always this stressful. So when it comes to health care, I'm going to say that depending on the area that you are living and the kind of hospital standard that you go, if you are going for the public hospital, you are going to be budgeting around $100 to like $200 every month, depending on your case, like how many of you in the family is wanting to use the healthcare system, or how high or how frequent you fall sick, or the kind of sickness, right? Now if you go through the public, you may spend more because it's, like I said, it's going to depend on the size of your family and how frequent you go to the clinic, and the cause of the sickness or what the sickness is about is going to cost you more depending on how serious your case is or the sickness is. So we are going to look at is bills. Now for cost of bills, it's going to depend on what you use and most of the bills that you accumulate, because here in Nigeria it's going to depend on the things that you're actually consuming. If you are using the public light, okay, you are going to pay, of course, and it's going to depend on how much you use in a month. It is monthly. If you also use public water, which is not so much rampant, like it's not something that people use, but if you use the public water, then you are going to pay per month. But generally for bills, cost of your phone bill, your light bill, your water bill, depending on how you use it or what you use and the environment you are living in, you are going to consider spending around $50 to $150. Cost of petrol, of course, if you have a car, then you want to know how much petrol is, and right now at the moment the cost of petrol is about 1,200 to about 1,500 depending on the location that you are or the city that you actually find yourself. I'm going to leave the rates in dollar on the screen for you, and don't forget all the rates I'm going to be leaving here are mostly in dollars. Okay, so you can just convert it to naira with a 1,600, which is the present conversion rate here in Nigeria. Hey you guys, so some of these bills are something that is going to fluctuate depending on the environment you are staying, depending on how much you use it, depending on the state you are living in, and the size of your family is going to vary. Also, I forgot to add that the cost of house rent or accommodation is yearly. Is going to be per year, not per month, unlike some other countries. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope it has given you like a guide as to the cost of living in Nigeria currently. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.